Good afternoon. Everybody hear me okay? Okay. Good to see everybody today. We were watching the weather yesterday and this morning and weren't quite sure this meeting was going to happen with some of the forecasts that fortunately proved to be a little aggressive. Still might get some good storms tonight, but not this early in the day, so I'm happy we were still able to meet today. So good to see everybody. We do have a couple people that are absent today. We'll do our best to cover for them. And we're going to start out by introducing you. We have a special guest, someone who is new to Wesley Life. He works in our home and community-based services division. And so at this time, I'd like to have Aiden come up to the microphone, and he's going to introduce himself and talk a little bit about what he does at Wesley Life. He says he's a big talker, so look out.
I'm getting married next February in Mexico, so my fiance is really trying to help me get ready with the speeches and stuff. So the microphone for me is a really good place. But so my name's Adam Ryder. I'm joining our Wesley Life at Home program, working really close with Christy that you guys probably know, to really help bring you guys as many services as possible. So whether it be someone just coming out and helping with some linens or hanging out for the day with you guys is kind of what I cover. Pretty much everything in between as well too. Kind of come from this line of work as well too, but I'm super excited to join Wesley and to see more individuals. I work with all 6 of our communities throughout the metro, over in Tupelo as well too. So if you see me walking around, please say hi. I'm going to see how many people I can find that like to play cribbage. I'm trying to find my cribbage club somewhere. So, all right, here we go. So I was taught mahjong last week, which I'm not very good at yet, but I can do the cribbage. So I will leave it at the cribbage part. So thank you guys so much for letting me just 30 seconds here. Again, if you see me, say hi. I love my job. So this is the best part of my job is to hang out and talk. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Aiden, and welcome to Wesley Life. You'll see him dropping in to see us regularly. Now I'd like to introduce Sam Kolner for some clean jokes and an update on our dining services program. Smile.
I'm smiling. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I went to the doctor with a suspicious-looking mole. And he told me they all look that way, and I should have left him in my garden. Okay. A couple of quick updates from dining. We have new burgers in the bistro. They're local Angus beef and never frozen. They're 100% beef. They have no additives. So that's exciting. The buns are also clean label. They have no preservatives. So the burgers just got to upgrade in the bistro. So speaking of burgers, there's also a bison burger that was added to the dinner menu. So check that out. Bison it doesn't taste exactly like beef, but it's a lean protein, has lots of good stuff for you. There'll be new menus coming out this month in the Chamberlain and in Sante. Mother's Day menus will be up, and the sign-up sheets will be out by the end of the week. So I'll keep everyone updated on that, because Mother's Day is right around the corner. Let's see, Wesley Greens, the Nourish Iowa brand from the Prairie Meadows Hydroponic Farm, are being sold in Fairway stores now, in local Fairway stores, so that's kind of cool. They're the same ones we sell in our grab and go. So we're also using the microgreens and edible flowers from that farm as well. So if you see a flower as a garnish on anything, you can eat it, even though it's a little flower. It's real pretty, but they are edible. Let's see. I believe I mentioned before, but all dressings are now made in-house. And a couple events coming up. We'll have mint juleps in the pub on Friday to celebrate the Kentucky Derby. So come check those out. There's a derby day in the pub on Friday. Those can be ordered as a mocktail as well. So if you'd like to enjoy the flavor and skip the alcohol, we can make those without. And then May 9th, in the pub as well, we're going to have Hall of Famers Steve George and Jeff Banks playing live in the Chamberlain as well. And Jeff happens to be our HR director, her brother, I believe. Brother, yes. So those are a couple fun things that are coming up. And I believe that's it from me. Does anybody have any questions? All right. Ryan, you're up. Thank you, everybody.
Waiting to see if there's updated information. Good? Oh, I hadn't heard. Do you want to talk about that later? Okay. We'll address that later. All right, so my name is Ryan Amundsen, Director of Wellbeing, by the way. I think we have a few new residents. I know my name, sorry, that sounded weird. I was looking around for some new faces. So we do have a few new residents that have moved in. So with that, I did want to mention that we are going to be scheduling another new resident fair some point in the next month or so, probably at the end of the month or early in June. As Wiki will explain, this month is pretty jam-packed, so it'll probably be in June. But keep an eye out for that on your calendars. It's a nice way for some of our newer residents to come in and digest some of that information that's thrown at them the first couple weeks in a little bit more controlled way, and they can ask questions and things like that. So we have that coming up. No date determined yet, but with the influx of residents moving in, it'll be a good time to add that back in. So the other thing I wanted to mention, to piggyback off what Sam said, this Friday we are doing Derby night in the pub. So he's going to have those mint juleps there to be ordered. That's the Derby's signature drink. But in addition to that, we are going to be awarding some gift cards to somebody who comes either with the best Derby hat or the best Derby attire. So we're trying to yeah, everyone, come on in. So he has a great Derby hat is what I'm guessing. But we're going to do that on Friday, just a fun way to get some more activity into the pub and kind of celebrate around the Kentucky Derby time. So if you have any questions on that, just come find me afterwards. But pretty low-key, informal, but hopefully we see some fun hats and outfits. I've been told I need to go buy a fedora. So if anybody knows where I can get one, let me know. So coming up this month, we are going to start doing a once-a-month trip to Topgolf out in West Des Moines. So we had a fun initial trip. We had a few residents go with us, and for those that don't know, Topgolf is a driving range that has a bar and restaurant there. It's got targets out in the middle that you aim for. There's games and scoring, and it's just a really fun way to spend some time outdoors hitting a golf ball. And I had mentioned last time, you do not need to be a good golfer to have fun at Topgolf. I am a terrible golfer, and I enjoy Topgolf. So if you're interested in that, we do need RSVPs for that. So Michaela is heading that up. So if you want to go to Topgolf, just let us know, and we'll get a spot reserved for you. But that's going to be on the 4th Tuesday of every month. So we're going to do that while the weather's nice. I saw people golfing out there when it was -30. We're going to stop when it gets cold. But while it's warm out, we are going to try to keep that going through the summer and into the fall. Coming up this month as well, we have our next presentation from Broadlawns, part of the partnership that we have going with them to host some educational presentations. The next one will be on May 14th, and that'll be centered around cardiac health. So each time they come here, they're going to have a different topic. So cardiac health will be the next topic here in a couple weeks. And the last thing I kind of wanted to touch on before I hand the mic over to Wiki, about a month or two ago, we handed out activity surveys to everybody on campus, and we got a ton of really good feedback, and I want to give Michaela a shout out. She organized everybody's responses into this nice color-coded chart. But essentially, what we're going to be doing is taking some of the top requested things and doing our best to integrate a lot of that in there. So we had some newer requests for even more guest speakers, trips to the Arts Center, more musicals, comedians. We have a comedian, I believe, coming up here shortly as well. Wiki's looking excited about that one. So we're gonna be adding some more of those things in there, but also we got some requests for some more continuing education programs here as well. One of which being music and art appreciation. We had one around dementia, and the dementia one I do want to speak on. Myself and Julie Reed, who's the director of Adult Day, have been talking and trying to put together a plan to host resident and team member classes around becoming a dementia friend certified community. And what that is, it's a series of presentations and workshops where residents and team members can come together and learn about dementia, interacting with folks with dementia, and just raising awareness around that. So Julie and I are working on that. We don't have a start date, but it's something we're really hoping to get going as we head into the summer. So that's one of the items on this survey that I did want to bring up that we are working on right now. But we got a lot of really good information. If you would like to see some of the information, I'd be happy to show you. I do plan on bringing this to resident council to talk through even more. So there'll be more information coming out about this, but I really appreciate everyone's feedback. And there'll be more of these surveys in the future too, but that way we can kind of get a pulse on what everybody's asking for. So I appreciate all the responses on that. Any questions from me before I turn it over to Wiki? All right. Happy Monday, everybody.
Oh, happy Monday, everybody. Let's hope it doesn't storm out there. Um, there is a lot coming up. May is always a busy month. It's sort of like the holidays at Christmas time when a lot of schools come and want to do programming. So there's a lot of things going on that are extra this month. But the first thing I want to talk about are more educational opportunities, and this Friday being one of them. Author Austin Friedrich will be here. I'm probably mispronouncing his name. He currently lives on the East Coast, but he is coming here to talk about the book he just wrote. It's called Barons. It's Barons: Money, Power, and the Corruption of the Food Industry. Should be a very interesting topic, and some of you have read it. I can't say I have yet, but he will be here on this Friday at 2 o'clock to talk about his book and do a book signing. So we hope you all will come to that. Our Parkinson's group, which we have gotten together, is starting to take off, and I think we are doing a very special program this month in addition to their normal meeting, which is always on the first Wednesday. But this will be Connecting Through Art program, which will be Tuesday, May 6th, and it'll be from 2 to 3 in the Catalyst Room. Also, this week, for those with low vision, we will be doing a special opportunity as the Department for the Blind will be coming to talk about more adaptive equipment and things we can do to help those that have vision loss. Check that out on your calendar as well. For music, Junction Jazz Society will be our first outside, hopefully, venue. If not, we will bring it into the auditorium. It'll be Thursday, May 8th, and at 6:30 in the evening. Acts Academy Youth Choir will be back. That's the ministry team from the Adelphi Baptist Church. They're always wonderful, and they will be here this month. Des Moines Youth Symphony, the Academy Quintet will be here. And that should be a lovely program. It'll be the evening of Monday, May 18th. Of course, Switchback, always a favorite, and the ones we travel with abroad will be here towards the end of the month. It'll be the last Thursday of this month. And then to close out the month of music will be Billy Troy from Omaha. He really grew up in the Grand Ole Opry, and for those of you that like country music, he is the best of the best. I can't tell you how much I enjoy when he comes over, but he's going to do a special program for us, and I think that's on the 30th of this month. Something we have meant to do for the last couple months, and I will take the blame for this, but we want to appreciate all of you that volunteer around here every day. You do so much for us, and we want to thank you for that. So we are going to, the first Friday in June, we couldn't fit it in this month, or not first Friday, excuse me. It'll be, yes, it is the first Friday, June 3rd. From 3 to 4, we'll have a volunteer appreciation hors d'oeuvre buffet. There'll be some wine, and we will just thank you all for being here. So it is open to all of you that do volunteer. We don't know what every single person does every day, so we would just ask you to come and enjoy and to be thanked for all you do. Damon, is there any questions? Any? Okay. Damon, all yours.
My turn comes pretty fast when there's a couple directors gone. Okay, so we'll begin. I want to talk about a couple things that Amy Bassett would have covered if she were here today. And mostly that's just around census. Happy to report that through the first 4 months of the year, we're off to our best census start since 2020. We had really good years in 2019 and 2020. Arguably the best Wesley Acres at the time had. So we were really proud of that. Then, of course, COVID hit kind of in that April, May of 2020. So things changed for a while, but through the end of April, it does appear that this is even a little bit better start than 2020. So that's exciting, I think, for everybody living and working here. A little bit of an update on how the service lines are performing. In the health center, we continue to be the preferred referral for people needing rehab services from the hospitals. Some days we wish we had more room at the inn, and we don't. We do our best to accommodate everybody that we can. And sometimes residents or family members will pop in and ask about, when you're so full, how can I be sure that I would get a bed if I needed it, or my loved one would get one. And while we can't 100% guarantee that, we do everything in our power to manage in a way where you do. So that's why it's been very few and far between that's ever been an issue. So if you ever have a question about that or want to talk about it, let me know. But with the health center, our in-house residents, just like with other things, you pass everybody from the outside on the waiting list. So if we've got half a dozen people that need to come into the health center and we're waiting for beds to open up, and God forbid there's an event, a fall or something like that, you have a hospital qualifying stay and you need rehab, you go right to the top of the list so we can get you in. And that's worked 99.9% of the time. So just wanted to put that out there because I do get asked that question once in a while when word gets out how full we've been. If you ever want to talk about that, just come see me or Jack, either one of us. But things are going well in the health center. The team is expecting their annual survey soon, so be thinking about the health center team. That's probably one of our most stressful weeks of the year because the health center is very heavily regulated, and pretty much everything we do over there gets turned upside down for a week by the inspectors to make sure we're doing everything right. But we were deficiency-free last year, so we're hoping to do that again or come real close to it. The Austin Center, RCF over here, has 0 open beds today. It is totally full. Johns Harbor does have an open bed at the moment, or I'm sorry, an open apartment. It was full. We had some attrition, and that one's just a matter. We've got the next move in on their way, so that'll be full here very shortly. Assisted living. Those of you that were here at the beginning of last year, early in 2024, we were at 42 out of 68 apartments. You guys remember that? We used to talk about that in these meetings. But as of now, today, we have one open apartment that we can show. So you go from 26 down to one. So think about that for a minute. So Central has filled up dramatically. So that's really exciting. So assisted living is back full and strong and starting to get a waiting list going there. So that's really exciting. Just don't have any more, much more room right now. And then in independent living, we've got, I believe, 6 open apartments, but about half of those are spoken for. The apartments are under construction. They're spoken for, but we're doing what's called the unit turns. I know we've got a couple we're doing over in the Bolton. We've got a couple we're doing over here, including one real big one we're about to start on first floor in the Grand to get that apartment turned. And that's really exciting. It just means a lot of construction work going on to get these apartments turned for our new residents. So pretty exciting times there. When the construction's done on these IL apartments, place, not a lot of room left here at Wesley on Grand, so that's a good position to be in. With staffing, we continue to do pretty well. Our retention's been really strong this year with our team members, so we're really happy about that. We appear to be back on track to having annual retention over 80%, which again, before COVID, we did 3 consecutive years. 80% in this transient industry is a real high mark that we're proud of, and looks like we're on pace to hit that again for the first time since 2019 before COVID hit. So that's a little bit on operations and census. And Amy Bassett's area, any questions around that? Yes. That's exactly what we do. Good question. So her question was, the hypothetical is if we were full and someone needed a health center bed immediately, would we work with one of our sister buildings in town? And yes, that's exactly what we would do. So what we'd probably look at doing is Edgewater or Brio. Then it would be up to the resident whether they'd want to do. Rehab stays nowadays are typically averaging about 2 weeks. So it would be up to the resident and their family about, say they're out at Edgewater. After a couple of days out there, would they want to come back and finish their rehab stay here? Or if they're out at Edgewater and doing well, they got a good crew out there too. Not as good as us, but they're good. But no, Edgewater's a good community too. But if they're out there and acclimated and doing well, they could stay out there and finish. I mean, we've had people of theirs do rehab here before, and we've finished their rehab for them. Usually, though, fortunately, we can work with the hospital, and we can manage the beds in a manner where it should be very, very rare, even with demand where it is, or we can't get our own residents in here. Very rare. So I don't think you'll see that very often. So I'll stick my neck out on that one. Any more questions? That area? Okay. Moving on, Jeremiah couldn't be here today. He's off. One thing he wanted to make sure for me to ask about, the MediaCom feedback has slowed down, and he wanted me to ask the group, and I was going to ask anyway, how's that been going? Everybody's cable and internet? Seeing a couple? Oh, I see a John Meacham thumbs down. John Meacham thumbs down. Who other than John has a thumbs down? There's kind of a, more and more down. Okay. We have an executive director call this Wednesday, and that is one of the big things we'll be talking about, because I think everybody knows MediaCom was a company-wide implementation, not just here. We were just first, so we're not the only one that, there's issues at other buildings too. So, and we're going to talk about kind of how everybody's doing and then where we're going to go from here. So if you think of anything more about MediaCom, stop by my office and let me know, or let Jeremiah and Bailey know. But again, like I keep saying every month, don't just, because once in a while we get residents, no, I don't want to complain anymore. It's not complaining. We're paying for this service. It should work really well for you. So it's letting us know so we can get it fixed, which we appreciate. And that was really the big thing from Jeremiah. I'll come back to maintenance here in a little bit. I'm going to jump over to some Damon stuff here. Couple updates we've got along with the apartments we're turning right now. We've also got some sizable capital projects we're getting our bids on. First one is the grand windows. We continue to get, so for those of you that are newer, we put out a request for proposal to get bids on replacing all of the windows in our grand tower over here. And we're in the process of doing that. We've got quite a handful of people who voiced interest in bidding, companies I mean, and we've got some bids in. We've got a couple that are supposedly coming in. I say supposedly because just these bigger projects, sometimes companies will decide that it's too much or the timing's not right for them or whatever. But we do have a couple more saying that bids are forthcoming. And then we've got our first company that's ready to do their presentation to us about their bid. So things are moving along there. Hopefully we'll have at least 4 or 5 bids to get presented and go from there. So continuing to move forward on that. We've also put together a written RFP for the Bolton and in the process of sending that. So that RFP is being sent out to targeted designers. By targeted, I mean people who were recommended to us or that we know, and any names that are given to us. So if you know of any designers who would be really good at proposing some really nice schemes for a historic building like our Bolton, the common areas and everything, by all means, if you give us the name, we can forward that RFP to them in case they have the means to do a bid on that. So we'll be working on getting bids, the RFP for the Bolton too. We've got RJ starting the grounds outside. They're out mowing today, actually. They've done the mulch and some things like that, going around doing cleanup. What I want to stress is with them getting started this year, if you have any feedback about RJ's performance, because people bid pretty hard to get our grounds work every year. So at the end of the year this year, we'll have other vendors coming after that bid pretty hard. We did this past year, and we went with RJ's for a second year. But if you have any suggestions, opportunities, things we could do with RJ to improve things, please let, again, Jeremiah, Bailey, or myself know. It might be something we add that's not in the scope of our contract with them, but we can do an addendum and add it to what they're doing sometimes. Might bump up our cost a couple $100 a month, but there's always things we can tweak. So, but we really want to watch RJ, or just watch the performance closely this year. So it's something we feel really, really good about, because if it's not, then we could open it up and give a stronger look at some other opportunities for next year. Not saying RJ's not doing a good job by any means. I think they've done fairly well from everything I've heard and seen, but we want to make sure it stays that way and that, you know, someone else can't come in and do it better. Any thoughts about the grounds so far, by the way? Yeah, Deb. A thermometer by door 6? Thermometer by door. I'll have to talk to you about that, Deb. I don't know. I'll talk to you after the meeting. That wouldn't be an RJ thing, I don't think, but we can still talk about it. But kind of like the MediaCom, you know, let's hold RJ accountable, and these grounds should look really, really nice. We're paying a good price for the care and everything, and we want to keep it looking sharp. And just a heads up for tomorrow, the leadership team tomorrow, we we do a retreat once a month, the leadership team does. And by retreat, I mean, it's not like we're getting on a plane and going to an island or anything like people at the Principal or something like that. A retreat for us is going down to Ingersoll and getting a free conference room at Palmer's. In exchange for the conference room, we eat lunch there. That's how we pay for it. So we're not out spending big bucks like some places. But anyway, the leadership team just gets out of the building for a day, and we're working on what's called our operating plan, which we update once a quarter, and it's basically the goals that we all have as individual directors and also cumulatively as a leadership team to carry out our vision for 2025. So that's all inclusive. That's your financial and things you want to improve upon, goals for the health center, goals for programming, goals for dining, all those types of things. So we'll be over at Palmer's all day tomorrow, but there's a plethora of team members here that'll handle things, and they know where to reach us or find us if we're needed. So don't be surprised when we're all directors tomorrow when none of us are here. At this time, that's all I've got. Getting back to the plant ops section, any plant ops issues for me to report to Jeremiah when he gets back tomorrow? He wanted me to make sure. Yes. Recycle bins and the shred bins, you said. Right. Okay. Okay, I will pass that along to him when I get back to my desk. Yes, sir. Can barely. Mike. One of the new signs? Oh. That doesn't make me happy to hear that. Thanks, Mike. We'll go look at that right away. Any other? And obviously, our doors are almost always open. So if you think of anything, let me know, Bailey or Jeremiah. But anything else for me to pass along to those two tomorrow? Okay. Any other questions for me or for anybody else today? Ben Camley. Could you repeat that? We can do that. What he's asking about is when the RFPs come in to bid, or basically present their bidders, can we include a couple of residents on the hearing the information in the bids? And that's something we've been talking about. I'll follow up with you and Bob on that. So for the resident council. Yep, that's something we were planning on doing. Good question, though. I should have said that. Yes. Can we rethink having the bar open on Saturdays as summer comes and people want to sit outside in the evenings? Yeah, I mean, the whole question around that's going to be volume and economies of scale. I don't know, Sam, if you want to speak on that or not. That was the most sarcastic, oh, sure, I think I've ever.
Yes, I mean, we want to make sure we're being good stewards of everyone's money, and we have certain budgets and expectations in terms of that. And when we're looking at the open hours for the different venues, we have to go with the historical data on who's coming and how many people and such. So the decision to not have it on Saturdays was because we were consistently not having anyone visit us on Saturdays, and we have to pay people to be there and make the food and have the ovens on and things like that. So yes, as long as we can be assured that there will be many people using it on Saturdays, we can look at that. Okay.
So all these guys are promising they'll be here on Saturdays. That's what I heard. All right. I mean, we can try. I mean, anything else? Okay, good. Well, thanks for coming today. Great to see everybody. Keep an eye on the weather this afternoon. It looks like some of the worst stuff they were talking about last night and this morning is going to miss us, knock on wood. But still be aware of it, as we will be. We will not have this meeting next month. It's Memorial Day weekend, the last Monday. We got a lot of people gone, and it's an off day and all that. So if you need anything, like I said, all our doors are open most of the time. So just let us know. Otherwise, thank you and have a great day. Testing. I forgot to mention one thing, I believe. Did I tell you guys how Channel 13 was here to interview us? So Channel 13 was here last week to do a story about the pub. They came in and they interviewed our CEO about the pub and the mansion and everything, and also myself about the bed and breakfast. So we took them upstairs and showed them the Izana and the apartments up there, talked about the artist in residence room up in the penthouse suite up there, and they just thought that mansion, just the whole entirety of it, was the neatest thing, and probably a very well kept, really cool secret. But it went really, really well. It hasn't been on yet, I just heard, but I think they were saying it would either be on last weekend or early this week on Channel 13. So watch for that. I'm sure we'll put it on the Wesley Life website once they do broadcast it. So that'll be some nice PR for us. It looked like a really nice story they put together. So, but that's it. Thanks.